So hi everyone, this is my entry to the Canton Hackathon. So my name is Saber and I've built Private Payer, which is basically a privacy first payroll app that I built on Damiel and Canton. So basically, this platform allows employers to basically manage payroll privately. It allows employers to only or employees to only see their own payment records, and auditors get scoped visibilities only when access has been granted to a particular auditor. So this is the brief landing page. When you open the product, you're going to briefly see cards on how it works. You can create employers. You can then also see the tech stack that's been used. So I'm just going to start by opening becoming an employer. So I'm going to connect to my dev wallet and I'm going to sign. Okay, yeah, so now so this is signed, and this is my dashboard as the particular employer rather. So this is the dashboard. You could see an employee section where you could manage all your employees. You could see the payroll section where you could then pay people, and then you could see the auditor section where you could also grant access to particular auditors. And overall, this is just the app branding. This is the settings page, and then we're just going to get off by adding an employer. So we currently have Michael, which is a senior developer. So we're just going to add Saber, which is okay. We're then going to add a particular wallet address. We could say this, and then we could say Saber is the HR, and then we're going to pay 1,000 PUSD in value. So, full disclaimer, I ran into a very big issue when I was trying to integrate, external currencies into the application, like, testnets like, let's say USDC on Base or, Sepolia ETH basically. I found out that on the Canton website, you cannot basically just add any sort of external product into it. So I ran into that problem, and then I wrapped my head around, just working on a treasury basically, a treasury where, a treasury of mock USD, yeah. So I created PUSD, which is like a mock version, so that we could, retail, and I could control the privacy, the private functionality. Because if I integrated an external currency, it's going to mess up the old privacy architecture and stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and add Saber as my employer. Oh yeah, so we have to. So I have a few addresses that will be mapped basically. Oh, so because that ID already exists, so we're just going to go around retest with Michael instead. So yeah, since we have Michael already, we're just going to go around and try and pay again. So they have a treasury of about um 3,000 PSDT left. So I'm going to run another payroll. I'm paying Michael 2,000 again. So we have Michael has been paid twice. It is about 4k PSD PSD basically. So yeah, before the payroll runs, the employer would basically have to even fund the treasury and stuff. But since we have all of that done already, and I will just run over to explain a few things on how it works. So basically we have like a Damian ledger where you could basically show the active employee count. You could show the treasury balance. You could also show the monthly total spent. And yeah, so I need to say that the payroll is run on a ledger, and the employer treasury would obviously decrease or increase. So yeah, I would also want to show how to grant access to external auditors. So I could say payroll ID of 2, and then I could grant this particular address the ability to come and see data. So yeah, I've granted access to this particular address again, and then particular address is going to be able to basically see data. So I'm going to switch over to that address right now, which is account 4. So I'm going to connect to that. So this is my first time working with Damil and Canton, to be honest. So it's a bit difficult. So yeah, as an auditor now, I can basically see control data. So yeah, I can see the payroll ID. I can see the total value that has been spent by the employer. You know, I can basically just see what I've been shared to. So yeah, that is about it. So I'm going to go to the employer's address and access the employee portal, which I've been created as well. So I think the employer was the anvil. So I'm going to come over to. I'm going to switch over to the employee address. And then yeah, the employee too has controlled access. You cannot see pages that have not been guaranteed to you. So you're going to be able to come to the employee portal. And then yeah, you can see that the employer has paid about 4,000 PUSD, and then your wallet balance is currently that same amount. So yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and claim. So because this is mocked, we're not going to see any sort of transaction status or a transaction address or anything as such. So yeah, I would also, it was also a bummer for me to not have to, integrate an external currency like a testnet or something. So yeah, you can see that the address will be visible, and if this was like an actual testnet, I would have logged a few transaction hashes and stuff. So as an employee, I'm only allowed to see this. So yeah, that is about it. That is just about it. So basically my product shows how payrolls can be coordinated privately on Canton. The employer basically will fund the treasury, pay employees privately, and the public or even unaccessed auditors cannot have access to basically viewing the data. So before I close off, I would also like to give a very good deployment disclosure. So while I was trying to host this, I deployed the front end on Vercel, but I realized that I could not do the same thing for the Damio ledger server. So I tried to walk around doing like a VPS, but apparently I would have to pay for that, and apparently I do not have enough liquidity to do that. So I tried Cloudflare, but I would also have to keep my machine running for you guys to test it. So I just went around just having to demo it on my local machine. I just hope that even though I don't win, I just hope that I get something from my work, because I put a lot of effort into this. So yeah, thank you so much for hosting this, and I really hope to get something from my hard work. So thank you so much.